What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cracka. Lots to talk about on this episode. Lots to go over. Some reviews. I got a pretty nice haul of some back issues that I'm quite pleased with. Some interesting things and some stuff I'm going to show you that I'm packing away. So I figured I'll start with the stuff I'm packing away. Um, One little thing: Terminator 2 exoskeleton. His eyes actually light up when you put it over the top. But some Terminator 2 movie. Gotta pack him up. Little things. This I had gotten from Universal Studios in Florida at the Terminator 2 ride. It's another exoskeleton, which you push his chest and his eyes should light up. If I can find the chest part. There we go. There you go. Just like Cyclops. So he's getting packed away. And another thing, well, two things I had gotten from Disney when I went there. Not a Star Wars fan, I just thought they were cool. This is Goofy as Cad Bane from Star Wars. Just thought it was cool. Goofy's the man. And Bad Pete as Boba Fett. Packed them up. And last but not least of the things that are getting packed is George from Gremlins 2, the Mogwai. Gotta pack him up. Alrighty. Something I had bought yesterday, which I'm going to show before I do a review. I got Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 2 on Blu-ray, which is obviously, this is Part 1 and Part 2. Yay. Both were friggin' awesome. Part 2 I actually saw a couple weeks ago, and I loved it. I'm like, I gotta get this on Blu-ray. Which is really, really good. If you haven't seen it, buy it. Get the first and second one. They're worth it. They're definitely worth the money. They were just amazing. They were just really, really good, and it was just cool. I enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun. The second one, man, Jesus, what happens with the Joker? I'm not gonna say it because I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's pretty crazy. And there's a surprise guest on the second part. Which, if you've read the Dark Knight Returns novel from Frank Miller, then you know who's in it. But it was cool. It was really good. Alrighty, moving on to some reviews. I started reading the DC stuff that I had that I didn't get to, and so far the ones I had gotten are pretty cool. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 16. I really liked the cover, but the story kind of blew. It was basically just featured Arsenal, like him trying to take not take over, but become a leader, I guess, as they're searching for the Red Hood, and they're fighting like a whole area full of Jokerized people, and it wasn't bad, but it's almost like it had nothing to do with anything. It's just like, all right, if it wasn't the Jokerized people, you could have put something else in there and had totally different story. Well, same story, but different instead of a tie-in. That's what I meant. Moving on to Nightwing number 16. This was awesome. This really was an awesome issue. It just shows how far Joker can take things, and oh man, Nightwing knows what's going on, and he's still under the assumption, which is rightfully so, which is probably true, the Joker knows who they all are and has always known, and whole big thing, and the Joker kind of leads him back to Nightwing Circus, where he's like, oh, I got everybody out, I'm good, whatever. And he gets to the circus, and he walks into the big top, the tent, and there's just dozens and dozens and dozens of dead bodies that are rotted, skeleton wise. Some are on rotted tigers, some, and the Joker's there with his head ringmaster kind of hat, and he's like, it seems kind of stupid to dig up all the old circus members, but that's me. And they're all his former friends, and then he's like, I kind of left the trapeze people alone, and kind of acknowledging that he knows that Nightwing was Robin and Dick Grayson, and it was just nuts. And then the people he thought he saved by sending away, Joker actually got to them and made them Jokerize them, and they start beating the crap out of Nightwing. They all kick his ass, and the Joker's dragging him away, saying, don't fall asleep yet. You're not allowed to die yet. You haven't seen anything yet. And then, of course, some of the other issues has this giant dinner plate and is about to open it, which is covered in blood, which Like I said, my theory is it's parts of Alfred, but it was pretty good. It was very interesting. Which brings me to Green Lantern number 16. This was pretty cool too. They're showing a little more of the new Green Lantern Baz. Um, just basically just goes over that squirrel. I can't remember what the hell his name is. The squirrel Green Lantern is like teaching him how to be a Green Lantern, and he comes up with some interesting stuff. Like he has like a Green Lantern cell phone that he makes, and then he goes to visit his, I don't know if his friend or his brother or whoever the hell it was, and he tries to make him better because the guy's in a coma or has been in a coma, and the squirrel Green Lantern's like, you can't. That's, you'll learn the hard way that you can't. The way the ring works, it doesn't help people. Well, not help people, but it doesn't heal them, and it can't bring them back from the dead. And he uses all his power, and is encompassing this guy's brother or friend or whoever it is with the Green Lantern energy and just pouring it on to the point where he's actually bleeding out of his eyes and his ears, and he's just concentrating and constantly saying, he's like, I only want one thing in this world, the ring, and that's to bring this guy back, make him healthy, that's all I want. He just kept going. He just keeps going and going, and until he basically drains himself completely of almost everything. And the squirrel lantern's like, I told you it doesn't work like that. And then all of a sudden the guy gets up and the squirrel's like, amazed, and he's like, you deserve to have the ring, and they talk about Sinestro and Hal Jordan and the message and stuff like that. But it was cool. It was cool. And then they figured they got to go save Guy Gardner from jail, which brings me to the Green Lantern Corps number 16, which is directly after this. You got to read this before you read this. Not really, but that's what it kind of says. And this was another awesome one. Gardner's in jail, obviously, and he's, it's like a typical story. Like the inmates are ready to kick his ass, and he's in the jail cell, and the guy's like, "Oh, we're gonna get you. We're gonna take you down. We're gonna kick your ass. We're gonna kill you." And he just goes, "Well, bam!" and just knocks the guy completely out, and he lands in the toilet. And then Gardner's brother and sister show up to try to talk to him, find out what's going on, and the Guardians send the Third Army after him to assimilate him, and they show up and they free his brother and sister free him, and they go to like an armory section of the jail and get ready to take these things out, and they're shooting them, and then of course the new Green Lantern Baz shows up and starts kicking their ass, and he's got a handgun, and Gardner's like, "Why do you have a handgun?" He's like, "Well, I realized that this ring tends to go out of power." He's like, "In the worst possible time." He's like, "So it's good to have some kind of a backup." But it was cool. It was actually really cool. All right, that does it for my review, and I will show you the new stuff that I had gotten today in a moment. But something I wanted to talk about, which is, I said it on Facebook a couple times, and I've talked to people about it. It's like a shitstorm. Young Justice and Green Lantern, the animated series, were both canceled from Cartoon Network, and people were going crazy, man. It really is nuts. Like, my friends are all flipping out and pissed off, and I know I'm pissed because Green Lantern one wasn't too bad. Like, I kind of enjoyed it, but Young Justice was really, really good. It was just an awesome, awesome show. I was never really, I was into the animated series a lot, but I was never that excited of, like, other than like the Justice League Unlimited when they had that Justice League. I thought that was really awesome, and this was the kind of show that I'm like, it's cool. They're bringing in all these people, and it's just a good show, good animation, good storylines. And Cartoon Network's like, we're done. And they kind of did like a dick move. They really did. I'm not really blaming DC because it really is. It seems to fall on Cartoon Network. When Young Justice came out the first season, when I first watched it, I was like, this is awesome. It's just the cool. It's like the old school stuff. It just rules. And the first season was really great. And then the second season, I was like, what are they going to do? Because you're kind of like, off the cliffhanger, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then they start getting into it, and in the second season, like the third or fourth episode, and you're like, this is awesome. And then they cut it. And you're like, what the hell? Where the hell did the show go? And it was way before even like their mid-season hiatus stuff. I think it was like in September or something like that they cut it. And people had no idea what was going on. They just stopped showing it. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, how do you go like 4 episodes in, and then you're done? And then, of course, Cartoon Network didn't promote when it was coming back. They didn't say, there was no commercials like, hey, we had a problem or whatever, it's coming back on the air. And then when it came back on the air, nobody had an idea that it was on. I didn't even know. Like, my friend's like, oh, dude, Young Justice is on. I'm like, it is? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, it's on. And I'm like, all right. And I started watching. I'm like, all right, it's cool. And then of course, and they're like, oh, we're canceling because it's not bringing in the numbers. No shit, because you didn't. You're not really back in the show, and on top of that, you didn't tell people when the damn thing was on. It was like I said, like a dick move. It's like, we want money, but we're not, So what they're gonna do, which I know they're gonna do it, just like King Joe. We had a discussion about this. They're gonna make sure they throw that crap on DVD real quick, just to make all the money off the DVD sales, because they're greedy little bastards. And Cartoon Network can kiss my ass, man. They pissed me off. Like so many shows, they have had such potential in some shows that really rocked. They're like, we don't want them. Like Justice League Unlimited, it's this season, whatever the last season it was, I forget, 2 or something, was cool. The last episode of that whole thing with Darkseid was amazing. And it's like, yeah, we're done. We're done. Why? You could have easily done more if you really wanted to. Although, like, even with that, I'm kind of like, you don't really want to push it. But same thing, Carter was like, we're done. We're not renewing it for another season, even though everyone likes it. We're done. And then you got, like, Thundercats, who had great potential, the new Thundercats. They didn't back that. Didn't even, I think it lasted, not even a season, and it was done. Say they were Voltron. Voltron kicked ass, man. It was a blending of the old and the new, and they're like, yeah, we're done. We're going to just keep Adventure Time on, and we're going to keep, the 9 billion Ben 10 things we have on there, and I forget what there's another show. I'm just going to back the hell out of that, and, it's making us enough money. Everything else can kiss my ass. But Cartoon Network, man, scumbags. Scumbags. And I think I was watching, it was Comic Uno that was talking about it. Check out that channel that about the Young Justice thing, and she was saying that she called it. She's like, you can see all the signs. It was taken off early. No one was told when it was coming back on, and whole big thing. And she was saying that Cartoon Network is notorious for taking stuff off and never putting it back on. And what's crazy, well, not crazy, but I'm totally for it. I signed like over 4 petitions already that like friends of mine have sent or have gotten, stating that they're sending all this stuff to Cartoon Network, demanding they put back Young Justice for another season, or continue it. And oh man, like one of the petitions I had, there was like I think like 6,000 people signed it already. I was like, damn, man. It's funny because like corporations like the Cartoon Network, it's like they don't give a shit, but when they start losing money, that's when they'll start to care. Like when people stop watching the channel, and they wonder why, it's like, yeah, you pissed us off. Don't piss off your fans. Don't piss off people that are making you the money, and people want this stuff out there. Do it. What's the problem? You're still making money. You're making money off the show. You'll definitely be making money off the DVDs. You'll be making a fortune off all the merchandise. But no, they're dicks. So anyway, moving on to Marvel's side of the story with some of that stuff, where you got Ultimate Spider-Man, which a lot of people I've always heard have been hearing don't like it. I like it. I think it's a cool show. And I'm still pissed that they canceled the Avengers to make the Ultimate Avengers. It's like, oh man, you bastards. Now I'm hearing rumors that they're making Ultimate X-Men. I was like, oh my god. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And another thing in Cartoon Network, which is kind of interesting, I forgot to mention it, but they're putting out a new Batman series. That it's computer generated, like Green Lantern, and apparently putting out a new Teen Titans, which I think is kind of stupid considering you had Young Justice, which is almost the same thing. But, whatever. I don't get people. I don't get them. The corporations, they're just assholes. But moving on to my my huge back issue haul that I had gotten, which I'm going to discuss. Well, first I'll show it to you. Amazing Spider-Man number 239 I had gotten, which is the second appearance of the Green Goblin. And I know the Hobgoblin. Wow, I'm losing it. I know I wasn't going to buy anything that was good. I was going to try to stick with fine and very fine and up. But this was a really good price, and actually, even though it says it's good, it's in pretty damn good shape. I mean, better than I thought it would be. It's got some smudges down here, but that's about it. Like, there's no spine wear, there's no, like, tears or anything, and the only problem I've seen with it so far is, like I said, is just the 2 little itty-bitty smudges you really can't even see unless well, actually, yeah, you can. But that's it. So, I mean, it was a pretty good price. I think I only paid, let me see, I think I only paid $2. Yeah, $2. So that's not bad. And this is the second appearance of Hobgoblin. And of course I still have the first appearance, CGC. So, yay! Moving on. I'd gotten Amazing Spider-Man number 292. Amazing Spider-Man number 378, which is a replacement copy that I had. My other copy, the cover is missing and just shot to hell. So, got a replacement one. Amazing Spider-Man number 380, which is another replacement copy. This is another book that I had that got destroyed. Amazing Spider-Man 396 with Daredevil. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2, number 41, or if you want to call it Volume 1, number 482. Depending on how you feel about that stuff. Amazing Spider-Man number 57, or number 498. Interesting cover. Amazing Spider-Man number 521. I love this cover. It's just awesome looking. Very, very cool. Amazing Spider-Man number 523, where Spider-Man looks a little fat. Just a little fat in that one. It's probably just the way they did the angle, but damn. Amazing Spider-Man number 527, which is the part 9 of the other Evolve or Die. Which I have a couple of them, but not all of them. And even though, like I said, this is pretty decent shape too, even though it's marked good. The only thing I could see wrong with it is it's got a little tear at the spine right about there, and that's about it. So not too bad. And last but not least, which I find very interesting because I didn't even notice it at first, but the Amazing Spider-Man number 545. This is part 4 of 4, One More Day. Which this is one cover, and then I got the other cover with Mephisto. So I got the two different covers. But what's interesting is I didn't even notice it, and I guess I can't really bitch too much about Marvel anymore, because at the top it's just still only $3.99, and this was a while ago. So I guess they dropped their stuff back in the day, and but you get the idea. Alrighty, so that's my back issue haul, and obviously it was all Amazing Spider-Man, which is pretty cool because I got pretty good deals on them, and I'm starting to really put one hell of a dent in my Spider-Man collection, which I still got quite a lot. I have them all written down of all the stuff I'm looking for, but I'm actually doing it the smart way now, which I should have thought a hell of a lot earlier. I'm like, duh. I'm taking it in pieces. That's how I'm doing. I'm doing bits and pieces. Before I was just kind of scrambling. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal on that. That's a good deal on that. That's a good deal. Random numbers like number, 97, 102, blah blah blah. I'm like, damn. So when I wrote down every Spider-Man book that I need, I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? I should just focus on a certain section. So I had focused, technically last year in the summer when I went to the convention, I had focused on all the 300s. I got all the McFarlane runs, except for a 300 at the time, and then when I came back, I had gotten 300. So I focused on all the 300s. I figured if I wiped them out, it's a nice chunk out. And that's what I still was focusing on. And I'm down to, I think I only need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 6. 6 more issues in the 300. I need 385, 391, 393, 94, 398, and 399, and then I'm done with all the 300s, which is pretty cool. So that'll be a nice, chunk out of there. I mean, granted, I do have like 298, 299, and stuff like that, so it's a nice little thing out of there. Which hopefully next week I'm going to try to get them so I can get all the 300s, and then I'm going to start focusing on the 400s, because 400s is, I'm trying to, because I figured with Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, the first 100, 1 to 100, especially 1 to like 20, give or take, are pretty damn expensive, pretty pricey, at times. So you got to kind of bide your time with them. So I figured I'll leave them alone for a while. Like, I'll concentrate on the. Originally, I was working backwards, 700 and just going backwards and just filling it up. But I'm like, I wanted to kind of mix it up a bit, so I concentrate on sections, which is the right way to go. But I know there are still some big money books that are going to really take a chunk, like Amazing Spider-Man 129, the first Punisher I don't have, so I know that's going to take a small fortune. as well as Amazing Spider-Man #1. I know that thing's going to cost a hell of a lot, so I'm kind of not really worried about them right now. I'm like, like I said, I'll bide my time, and when an opportunity arises, I'm saving my money, so when it comes around, I'll be like, hey, I can get it, yay! But yeah, that will do it for this lovely episode. Had a little rant and talked about my Spidey collection, which eventually, because my friends are like, yeah, how's it going? I'm like, it's going. It's slow, but it's going. Because some of my friends expect me like, oh, you're gonna have that done, this year. No, that's not happening. Completing my Spider-Man collection is gonna take a long time because I never really realized how many I was missing until I actually really went through them, and I was like, oh man, I am missing a hell of a lot. Um, it's sad. It really is sad because Spider-Man is my favorite character, and Amazing Spider-Man was always my favorite book, and I just never really bulked up on it, and there was always there's gaps because it was just years that I missed stuff because of like all the 400 issues I had missed because the comic book stores I were going to were closed down, and I had no way of getting comics because back then there was no internet. Well, there was, but there wasn't the way it is now. So I missed like all the 400 issues and most of the end run of the 300s. So that was kind of like a kick in the ass because there was just nowhere to get them. And that's that explanation for that one. And then pretty much all the 500s and 600s, I was just not really into collecting. I had so many other things I had to take care of, like paying for the apartment and a whole bunch of bills and car payments and stuff like that, and getting myself situated. So I couldn't even collect any comics for the 500 and 600s. Well, most of the 600s, but all the 500s I didn't collect because, like I said, didn't have the time or the money to, especially at work. I was working overnight, so I just couldn't get to comic book stores at the right time, and so that's that. And the other ones, there's really no excuse, just they're old, and I just never had the money. But yeah, so I'm working on it. But there are linings. Like the one thing that I've noticed that kind of sucks in my collection is my friend was joking. He's like, "You're really not a true collector," he's like, "because your stuff is scattered. Like it's all over the place." And I'm like, "You have a point because I really don't have any complete runs of anything." And my friend was like, he's big into comics too. He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I've always been scattered. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. I'll get that next time. I'll get that. That's good." But the only thing I've noticed I have complete runs are the miniseries, like Infinity Gauntlet. I have all them. Infinity War. I don't have all the Infinity Crusades. I think I'm missing the last like 2 or 3. Slapstick, which is a miniseries, I have all 4 of them. It's things like that. Like I know West Coast Avengers. I have quite a few. I'm almost all. Actually, West Coast Avengers. I think I'm only missing like 15 or 16 books, and I have all of them, so it's not bad. Wolverine, at least Volume 1, I know I'm missing, I think, like 20 or 30 books. So I'm close on some things. But others, like Amazing Spider-Man, it's just, whew, there's a lot. The regular Spider-Man, I think I'm missing like 50 or 60 books. And the Web of Spider-Man, I think I'm only missing like 20 or 30 books, which isn't bad. And Spectacular Spider-Man, I know I'm missing a hell of a lot of those. Probably like a little over 100 of them. But what can I say? Like I said, I was sporadic. But mainly I've been focused on Amazing Spider-Man. So down the line, hopefully I'll be able to one day come on YouTube or whatever is the new thing out there by the time I get there and say, hey, I have all the Amazing Spider-Mans. Suck it. And hopefully maybe someday if I win the lottery, I'll get Amazing Fantasy number 15, or if it just appears like magic. If I rub a lamp or something, I don't know. I've been looking for the right lamp. Can't seem to find it. But anyway, that will do this in a long-ass video. If you like what you see, please hit the little like button. If you really like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Leave as many comments as you want, questions, whatever you want. I don't mind answering them. Don't mind talking about stuff. Love talking about stuff, as most people know. And it's not the size of your man cave that matters. It's what you have in it. Later.